Hello, Tucker. We doing all right? Yeah, good. So thank you all for coming tonight. We're really excited about these two roundabout projects. They came out of one of our many plans that we did. We did a north-south study about 3 years ago. And these were important projects for addressing both safety and operations and mobility. And our Public Works Director, who's hiding behind me, Mr. Sankar, Ishri Sankar, is going to take you through an excellent presentation. We got a lot of good information to share. And then afterwards, if you have any questions or comments, please come up to him. Or we also have some of our, or not me, right? Because I'm not an engineer and I don't know. We also do have some of our other staff members here. We have our communications director, Sonia Shubsky, and then we have Spencer Haberlin over here, our council liaison. I don't think I see any other staff, but we also have two of our council members, Councilmember Schroeder, Councilmember Nguyen, here. There we go. From District 2. So the only other just a little housekeeping stuff I would state is we do have our first Friday concert on August 7th, and that's the Mad Hatters. And that'll be at our beautiful Tuckertown Green that I hope everyone's gotten a chance to enjoy. And that'll be at 7 p.m. And then our next council meeting, which you're of course all invited to, 7 o'clock here on Monday, August 10th. And related to our transportation talks this evening, we're going to have the second read and potential adoption of our overall trail and transportation plan. So again, thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. We've had great public engagement on our projects, and like we did this when we did our two dam projects, that one of which is almost finished, and the other one, if it'll fully stop raining, will be finished sooner too. But akin to those projects, we like to tell the public what we're doing and give them an opportunity to have a better understanding. These are exciting projects, and it's your tax dollars that are making them happen. So we really appreciate that. And with that, I'll hand it over to Mr. Sankar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, and I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. This is a quick public information meeting to get some information out about the upcoming roundabout projects along Idlewood Road. As John mentioned, my name is Ishri Sankar, and I have the honor to really serve to the City of Tucker as the Public Works Director. So a little bit of background about these intersections. As you may or may not be aware, these intersections that are being impacted are Idlewood at Fellowship Road and Idlewood at Sar Parkway. Both of these are major corridors through the City of Tucker, connecting north-south traffic to east and west traffic, MIB, and Fellowship Road. Both currently are operated with traffic signals, and as you know, with traffic signals, you have to wait no matter what, unless you're breaking the laws of Georgia. Both of these have undesirable intersection skews, meaning you approach the intersection at an undesirable skew. You are looking over your left shoulder to make decisions whilst going right. So if you can imagine as a driver, you're not fully focused on where your car is heading as you make a very important decision to merge into traffic. And as they are currently laid out, these are currently congested and inefficient. Of course, when they were built in the 60s and 50s, they probably were efficient. A lot less cars, lots of less people on the roads. But over time, Tucker has urbanized significantly, and the traffic patterns have shifted. Lots of new development, lots of new residential buildings or homes, and commercial businesses along these corridors have caused these intersections to just become overwhelmed and less efficient for the neighborhoods. Next slide, please. All right, so what's proposed? We'll start at the big one, Idlewood at Fellowship Road. Here's the concept layout. You'll see multiple lanes of traffic headed in from multiple directions. Skew angles remain relatively the same. However, they are aligned as you approach the roundabout closer and closer. You'll also see on this particular location, there are raised pedestrian markings and or islands, I'm sorry. These are intended to do two things. One, to slow vehicles down as they approach the pedestrian crossings. And secondly, offer pedestrians a refuge whilst they cross. And we'll talk a little bit more about the safety improvements of this particular concept or this particular design at this location. I do want to highlight that this one is in a more of a residential setting. It is a little bit larger due to the buses and uh, trucks that go through here. In the middle of this island, we'll have a landscaped area, a little bit more pleasing to the eyes aesthetically. Next slide, please. And this one's a little bit harder to see just because of the coloration, but this is Idlewood at SAR. Very similar layout. The difference here is that we do not have the raised pedestrian crossings. The reason for that is there is no connection over the bridge as of right now. These can be added later if a bridge expansion is programmed by the city, but we don't have that currently. However, there are pedestrian crossings through the roundabout as presented today. So we will be painting lines to get you across a roundabout. However, they just won't be raised at this time. It's important to note here that that school property, we were graciously, they donated the right-of-way for us to complete this project, so we appreciate their coordination and efforts there. The sidewalk will continue to connect through and shift a little bit further away from traffic so children and families can get safer to school. And we'll maintain those through construction, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But again, these roundabouts are designed for the vehicles that are intended to travel on them. They are a little bit larger, and they will allow buses and trucks to pass through. I want to highlight on this one, there is no planter in the middle. The reason for that is it's just a tighter corner, less real estate there. And in order for a truck to head westbound and then go southbound, they will have to completely run over the middle of that roundabout. So that is called a truck apron. It is designed to safely allow trucks and buses, larger vehicles, to travel over the intended path there, while vehicles can remain on asphalt. Typically, this truck apron is concrete, so it's a little bit sturdier and will resist more wear, but it does not have a landscape median for that reason. Next slide. So quickly, the benefits of the roundabout. I'm not going to read this all to you, but generally they are safer by accommodating slower vehicles moving through the intersection. You no longer have to floor it when you see the yellow light. Thanks for laughing. I didn't mean that'd be a joke, but yeah, you don't have to floor it when you see a yellow light anymore. You can focus on the pedestrians and the maneuverability of your particular vehicle. Unfortunately, vehicles have gotten larger over time. The larger, if you know a little bit about physics, more mass means it's harder to stop. So we are trying to slow you down as a driver before you get into that intersection. With that, they also accommodate more traffic by not allowing vehicles to stop. And part of that reduces emissions. So you're not having cars just idling at a traffic light. They continuously move through the intersection. And like I mentioned, there are ways to make these aesthetically pleasing with the pavers and landscaping. And for me, I don't have to maintain a signal anymore. So the city doesn't have to worry about red lights going out or calling our signal contractor to go fix the pedestrian press poles and any of that. That'll be 1 or 2 less bills for the city there, as well as we do pay for power at each one of these signals. Next slide. So when I talk about safety, I want to talk about the vehicular safety. This was a slide previously presented to the public during the design phase of these roundabouts, and I literally just copied it. So thank you to our design engineers, Kimley Horn, for doing such a wonderful job on this. But on the left-hand side here, you see what conflict points can happen at a traffic light. There are 32 conflict points for just one lane of traffic moving through in each direction. On a roundabout, that's reduced to 8. For pedestrians, it goes from 16 to 8, and for bikes, from 16 to 12. Also, as I mentioned, you do not have to floor it when you see the yellow, so you are going a lot slower. So if there is an accident at a roundabout, and I'm not saying that this will completely eliminate all accidents or reduce the amount of accidents, but it will surely reduce the severity of an accident. Imagine going through and plowing through this intersection trying to beat that yellow light at 50 miles an hour, which is a very realistic number for these intersections on Idlewood. Now you're reduced to, 15 miles an hour. If you try to go around one of these roundabouts faster than that, you will lose control of your vehicle. The intent is to slow folks down as they go through these intersections. So if there is an accident going 15 miles an hour, let's say 20 for worst case, versus 50 or 55 miles an hour, that is a much less severe accident, whether you're in a vehicle or you are a pedestrian crossing the road. Next slide, please. And pedestrian safety, like I mentioned, lower speeds. The crosswalks will be there. There are refuge islands, as you see in this picture, the little red island in the middle there. So you're only looking to cross one lane of traffic in one direction at a time. Then you have a refuge island. You are technically in the middle of traffic. However, you do have a concrete barrier that's surrounding you that'll protect you and your loved ones or your pets or whomever you're crossing with through that. You're no longer trying to cross straight up 25 plus feet of pavement. You are literally crossing 12 feet of pavement at a time. So you have the time and the resources to make a safe decision as you cross through the legs of the roundabout. Next slide, please. So we went out to bid on this last year, and we received quite a few number of bids. The contractor with the lowest responsible bid was Vertical Earth. We have some representatives here in the front row if you guys don't mind raising your hands. These are the folks that will be building this project for us, and their bid is just under 2.5 million. So this is not a small lift for the city of our size. And we thank you guys for trusting us with the tax dollars to improve this area. Next slide, please. I think what you're all here about is the schedule. How long is this going to be disruptive to me and my neighbors? And I'm going to be blunt and say it will be disruptive. There will be traffic delays. We are going to encourage you all to find alternate routes through this zone. We will do our absolute best to accommodate traffic whilst the projects are under construction. However, contractually, the SAR Parkway has 365 calendar days from August 10th. We have given their contractor in the room a notice to proceed on August 10th. Could have made it August 3rd, but that's the first day of school. We didn't want to do that to you or them. For the roundabout at Fellowship, theirs is 540 days from from August 10th. Again, that roundabout is a lot more complex. It has underground utilities. It has underground stormwater infrastructure that needs to be installed. To do this, we have asked our contractor to only work between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. Extended hours may be considered, however, they need to request that. And we do not allow lane closures before 9 a.m. or after 4 p.m. Obviously, rush hour, buses, schools, everyone's moving through the intersection at that time. They do have the right to work in the shoulder, but not to block lanes. There are going to be instances where materials may need to be delivered. They may come late, they may come early, and we will do our absolute best. However, we do require the contractor to have safe flagging for traffic to pass through the intersection at all times. And as I mentioned, these dates start from August 10th, 2026. So good luck to our contractor. I just wanted to again give you guys some context of whom we are. Again, my name is Ishri Sankar. We have Het in the room with Vertical Earth. He's the project manager. We have Jimmy in the room, who's not on the slide, but he's one of the senior project managers, I can say. General superintendent. All right, thank you. And we have Chris Lamb, who's going to be the superintendent. He'll probably on site pretty much day to day, checking safety and progress throughout. We also have James Skelly, who will be a construction inspector with McKay, and Todd Meadows with McKay doing the construction management. These plans and this project was designed by Kimley Horn. They're the engineer of record, and you will occasionally see them on site as well, sorting out any questions that may or issues that may arise with the design. Next step, well, we're kind of already at the public information meeting, but construction. I want to cover construction a little bit, as there's, in my mind, multiple phases. Starting August 10th, you'll probably see crews clearing trees. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the first part. We've got to clear trees, clear vegetation, get things out of the way for then utilities to come in and relocate. When I say utilities, I mean things that you don't even think about that are underground. Fiber optics out there, AGL is out there, overhead lines. Unfortunately, at the SAR Parkway, that is where Georgia Power has all their switches for that region. So they're planning to move that pole back for us. Only after that will you see what we call heavy construction. That's where the excavators and the skid steers and the bulldozers are out moving earth. That's where you're going to see a lot of the traffic congestion start picking up. So once you see larger construction equipment out there, please pay attention to where you're driving, and just try to avoid the area if you can. We ask that you pay attention for our safety, the safety of our crews. They have families just like you all. They just want to go home at the end of the day. So please pay attention to your speeds. We will be placing message boards up related to construction. You will see a lot of orange and bright green flagging in the area. And we will be reducing the speed limit down to 20 miles an hour. And we will be coordinating with DeKalb PD to help us enforce that as well. Once all the underground infrastructure is in place, they'll move to what's called surface construction. That's the construction of the road bed. They may need to shift traffic. They may need to pause lanes for a short period of time and use flaggers to get traffic through the intersection. They'll be installing the sidewalk, curb and gutter, and just everything on the surface of the project. And then lastly, it's just a wrap up. At that point, the roundabouts will be in place. They'll be usable. They'll be effective. And then it'll be up to the city and our team and Public Works to help you all enjoy and maintain the safety improvements throughout the corridor. So with that, we'll have a brief question and answers. Whoa, hands are flying up. If you don't mind stating your name, for the folks online, I do have to repeat the question as I hear it. So if I repeat it incorrectly, please correct me, and then I'll go ahead and try to answer it for you. So yes, ma'am. So Valerie Cruz has asked, are we working on both projects at the same time, or we will be doing one and then completing the other? As the way the contract is written, both projects could be opened up at the same time. I think it's desirable for the contractor to do the SAR Parkway at Idlewood Road first, button that one up, and then start at the Fellowship Parkway or Fellowship Road intersection. However, that comes into means and methods that the city is out of control of. That is particularly up to the contractor at hand. When they bid on the project, they do have the opportunity for savings by using sub-consultants to do very specific work. And if the scheduling of those sub-consultants require them to be at both intersections at the same time, that may mean a little bit of work could be done at both intersections. You have another? Yes, sir. Sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Patel has asked if the contractor could tell us which roundabout you plan on doing first. Can I pause here? I just want to repeat his answer for the folks online. So the answer was from Jimmy that they are going to be clearing at SAR Parkway first, and then the clearing crews will move over to the Fellowship Roundabout. In that time, they'll try to facilitate utilities to get them to start at SAR Parkway and then go over to Fellowship as well right after. Yes, Mr. Patel has asked, in fellowship at Idlewood, is there plans for landscaping in the center island? Yes, sir. There are plans for landscaping some low-laying shrubs. These are recommendations by GDOT and that they use statewide across the state for center island plantings at a roundabout. If you think about safety, one of the biggest safety improvements of a roundabout is being able to see straight through the intersection. So don't expect large trees or tall trees. These are low-laying shrubs with grass around them. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Jill McKendry. So Ms. Jill has asked if you have a driveway on Idlewood Road, will the driveway be closed at times? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so access through the intersection will not be hindered at any point. It may be detoured, like you may have to go a long way around the intersection. I'm not saying detour as in you have to go down to another road. You may have to go left, make a U-turn, and then come back around for a short period of time. During the nighttime hours, you will not have any detours in place. They will have to install barrels and directional signs to get you through the intersection. You will always have access to your driveway. Yes, you will always be able to pass through either intersection, Fellowship and Idlewood, or that is correct. And even if it's closed during that time, if you live in that area, through traffic is welcome to pass through. You just let them know I'm trying to get to this address, and they will let you through. Is that correct for the contractor? Yeah, they agree with that. Yes, sir. All the way in the back. Gary has asked what kind of disruption we would expect from fiber optics. Are you referring to like home internet? So AT&T has been involved in this project from the very beginning. They have given us the plans and their relocation schedule. We don't expect any outages beyond the time that it takes AT&T to splice your new service in place. Typically, that takes about 30 to 45 minutes for them to splice that fiber optic in place. What they typically do on these types of projects is place the new line where it needs to go in its permanent home, and then connect the two ends into the old line. I understand that, and I'm sorry. Yeah, so Jimmy has added, for those online, Jimmy has added that AT&T or fiber companies typically do that at night when the usage is lower, and they will let residents impacted notice in advance. The young lady in the back. So Ms. Becky has asked, why would we need to prolong it 1 week beyond the school opening date when all we're doing is cutting trees? So we were a little bit concerned. Typically, that first week, from experience, that first week of school has a little bit more congestion. People are trying to figure out, at routes and times and things like that. And just basic experience will tell you that it takes about a week to get a school running efficiently every single year, no matter if you're a repeat parent or not. And secondly, when they are dropping off and hauling off logs removed, they will be in the road. So we just don't want that to happen at the same time. We want to see what time buses are passing in and out. So we just want to coordinate with the contractor on really refining the timeline and when the closures can happen. I think we had one over here. Yeah, bike lanes are not included in these roundabouts as presented today. The idea is that these sidewalks are 6 feet, and the pedestrian facilities could be shared with bike lanes at this time, or bikes at this time. However, there's always the state law of bikes sharing the road as well. Oh, there's one behind column. Yes, sir. Yeah, great question. Mr. Cash has asked about the structural stability of the bridge over Highway 78 on Idlewood Road. That bridge has been there for a long time. We have GDOT does complete annual or not annual inspections at least every 3 years on the bridge, and per the last inspection, it does not have any noticeable defects on the bridge. It does carry a lot of load currently, and I understand that we'll be adding more load to it, but we're not adding a dead load to it. We're adding a live load that continuously moves through the bridge. We're not parking vehicles on top of the bridge. Yes, I'm trying to get you all these in order. I'm sorry. Yes. All. I'm sorry. What was your name again? Dale, Mr. Valentine. I'm sorry. Yes, he's asked whether or not the crosswalks will have what's called RRFBs, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and all of these crosswalks will have those. You press the button and it flashes an alert to vehicles in both directions approaching that leg that you're planning to cross. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Miss Valerie has asked to describe a little bit more detail on what a raised crosswalk is. A raised crosswalk, if you're familiar with a speed table, a traffic calming speed table, it's like a speed hump, but with a flat top. The flat is I think I want to say the flat top is about 10 feet or 16 feet wide, and it has slopes on either side. So think about it as a speed hump with the walking path on top of it. So if you're a vehicle, you will feel that physical bump going over it. And again, that's intentional. Yes, ma'am. Great question. Ms. Anita has asked on the maintenance of pedestrian accessibility throughout construction. Back and forth. So we've asked the contractor to place what's called GAB, graded aggregate base. It's finely crushed rock in place of sidewalk that will allow pedestrians to continue to walk through the project site. Our intent is to place these paths as far back on the easements or right away that we possibly can, so you can stay as far back from construction as possible. I will note that these paths made of GAB are not ADA compliant. However, you will be able to walk on them. Yes. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Yes. You won't if the lights are there. If the lights are there, they'll be functional. There will be a day where the lights will go away, but at that time, they'll be far along enough with construction that you would be able to use a crossing of some sort. Yes, ma'am, right next to you. Yeah, I think maybe, I'm sorry, what was your name? Miss Becky Burnett has asked about connectivity on the other side of the roadway where there is no sidewalk on how you would be able to access either roundabout safely. I think you're getting into maybe future projects for the city, but that is not within the scope of this project. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry, what was your name? Jacqueline has asked about pedestrians, and more specifically, children from high school and middle school there, um, being able to walk to and from school through the construction zone, and that is pretty typical. And as I mentioned earlier, we will make a path with GAB for them to walking through the actual construction zone. There will be construction workers there guiding them through, um, saying yes, you can cross now, or no, you can't cross now. That's pretty typical in most construction sites where there are pedestrians. We do not intend to close any kind of access for pedestrians throughout construction. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, yeah. Yes, ma'am. Miss Kimberly has asked about notifying the schools and coordinating with the schools. And we have coordinated with the DeKalb County Board of Education, both the DOT, their Department of Transportation, as well as each principal of the schools. I have not specifically coordinated with the high school, but I have coordinated with, right, but we have coordinated with the Board of Education's DOT, getting their bus routes and things like that and notifying them of construction coming up. Yep. So the question was this a vote for the project to happen or? Yes, this was awarded in January of 2026 to our contractor. Sorry. Oh, I am. Yeah, there was no public vote for the project, but it was approved by council. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, nor could I reveal where council lives. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Can there in both, I'm sorry, the question was what kind of lighting or illumination plans are there? On both locations, there are pedestrian lights and overhead lights, as you would see on a typical telephone pole. It's called the Cobra headlight over the intersection, and as well as along the pedestrian aspects of the intersection do include pedestrian lighting. Yeah. So the question was, how bright are the lights proposed to be, and how will it impact neighbors? Did I get that right? So the lights are typically used in these kind of installations are 100-watt LED lights. They are the city's standard that the city has adopted, and based on the photometrics, these lights do not bleed into the bedrooms or the front-facing residential homes. Their lighting diameter is limited to about 6 to 8 feet. So they are relatively close together, but when you look at the lighting impacts as it impacts residents, there's not going to be an impact. Yes, ma'am. Yep. So two parts of that question. The first part was helping children and get through the intersection during construction. And I don't know if we have the resources to hire a decab PD or a cross guard, but we do have licensed flaggers on the Vertical Earth, the contractors team that can help the children and get across the intersection safely. And the second part of that question was the stop on red condition. State law requires that if those lights are flagging or are blinking, that you stop for pedestrians. That is just standard state law across the entire state of Georgia. So we could ask for enforcement early on to help make sure that people are stopping once those lights are flashing. And the plans do include small signs in the middle of the lanes at the refuge islands that I spoke about that say stop here for pedestrian. So that makes it legal. Yes, sir. So the question was around flock cameras and installation of flock cameras at these or any kind of cameras at these intersections. As of right now, my knowledge is not, that there will not be installing any as part of this project. No, sir. I cannot say yes to the future or no to the future. Yep. So if there's a camera there currently, it will be maintained. But I can't tell you about the future. Sorry. Got about two more questions. Oh, got one behind you. Yep. Great question. The question is why start this close to the start of school versus starting it earlier or waiting until next year? This project was actually supposed to start right as school let up. However, the utilities have had a hard time acquiring right of way and their relocation plans. Unfortunately, utilities are something that are a little bit out of our control. They're self-managed. They're their own companies. So we are a little bit kind of waiting for them on this particular project and some other projects across the city. But we have finally got it to where utilities have agreed to relocate at their cost, and they are ready to mobilize once the trees are cleared for us. We would have definitely liked to start this, earlier or later, but we do have a contractual obligation to our vertical earth folks who have procured and acquired equipment and materials and labor to make this happen at the cost at which they proposed. Yes, ma'am. It's a great question. Miss Anita's asked about, yeah, Miss Anita's asked about accessing the neighborhood there throughout construction, I presume. I will say that there will not be any changes to the access of your neighborhood. If you are currently not able to make a left, please obey the law. And yeah, just I would recommend you to obey the law as it stands. And they will, all the access points, even if you live on one of the driveways, on one of the houses very close to the intersection, you will always have ingress and egress of your driveway. That may not mean that you have a nice concrete driveway at that time. It may be dug up with rock. But if they need to place a steel plate or something over that bridge, you will always have ingress and egress to your property. Yes, sir. Great question. So the question was merging into traffic from one of the driveways right off of Idlewood, close to the intersection. And I think you'll find that the consistent flow of traffic will actually help you, whereas you don't have a stack or a queue of cars tightly congested and tightly compacted in a small area. With this kind of open flow of traffic, you will find smaller gaps that'll allow you to exit your driveway. If you could think about it, there's a red light on Idlewood. Your driveway is blocked because you can't go left, you can't go right because there's a car parked there. In the future, once these are constructed, you'll find that cars continuously move through, so you would be able to find more gaps throughout the flow of traffic. That's So, sorry, the question was, is there going to be a hotline? Tucker already has a hotline. If you don't know, there is a 24. Nope, it's 24/7.
And also talk to you about his contact information. We have a great relationship with our client.
Hey. Sorry to push this out, but the presentations will be on the project page at tuckerga.gov. And this meeting was recorded, so it'll be on youtube.com/City of Tucker. Thank you.